Hi everyone, meteorologist Ed Valley here, taking a look at the long-range update for today. It is October 25th. The remnants of our storm system now moving through the eastern Ohio Valley after what has been a very, very wet period. Look at this. Last 3 days of rain shown here. Our friends in Minnesota and northern Wisconsin, nothing. Our friends in the central and western plains, nothing. But the eastern Dakotas into the Midwest and the Ohio Valley got crushed with rain. 2 to 6 inches of rain in a lot of this region. Obviously, the 6-inch was more of a exception rather than the rule, but still a widespread 1 to 3 inches observed here as expected. And that sharp northern cutoff also verified quite well. So a lot of harvest disruption with this type of event, and unfortunately we have more to come over the coming week. So let's go through it today. Again, the east is wet, and then most of the day is fine west, and all of Tuesday is fine. Late in the day Tuesday, showers and storms fire up here in the plains, and they'll move eastward Tuesday night. A lot of the eastern plains get in it, even parts of western Iowa and Minnesota get in it by early Wednesday morning. And you can see here the most updated look here. You can see through the day Wednesday, it's largely centered west of I-35, but it's a very wet day Wednesday, with rain slowly but surely pressing eastward. This is 8 p.m. on Wednesday evening. It's just getting to Waterloo. It's just getting to Washington, and it's just getting into central portions of Missouri. Out west, we're starting to dry out, but not before a quarter to 1 inch of rain, some places up to an inch, inch and a half. So quite a bit of moisture, and that's not the only system. You know, this thing is still moving, right? So Wednesday night, it rains in a lot of Iowa and Minnesota, Missouri, eastern Kansas, western Illinois. And then Thursday is a very wet day. Showers in the Midwest and the eastern belt. And that continues Thursday night. And even into Friday across the east is a tough day. Everybody else starts to dry out Friday, but the east will continue to deal with the rainfall. And between now and Friday night, here's a look. The GFS says 1 to 2 inches of rain in a lot of the Midwest and eastern plains. We'll call it 1/2 to 2.5 out in the Ohio Valley. Just a very impressive rainfall. And then this is a little bit overdone, I think, but you get the idea. 1 to 3 inches of rain for pretty much everybody. And here's our blended model. We usually favor this. Same deal. 1 to 3 inches in the Midwest, 1/2 to 2 inches in the eastern plains, and 1/2 to 2 inches in the Ohio Valley. So a very impactful week ahead. And once this system gets out of here, it is important to note we are going to cool off and dry out to some extent. There is going to be a pretty strong cold front around the turn of the month. Might bring a little bit of rain or snow shower activity. That's something to watch. But the cooler air and the drier air is going to be the big story here as we head into the first part of November. You notice here, looking at the amounts, this is basically from the 31st through the 4th. You see it's a 1/10 to 1/2 inch of rain along that front, but that's it in that period. And compared that to normal, and you see that it's a below normal look as we head into the beginning of November. Now, the GFS, as we head into next week, also agrees with that weak front. It's a little weaker even than the European had. And you notice not a lot of precip outside of some small stuff here or there right through the first week of November. And you see the dry risk in that, looking at that period compared to normal. So it's a cooler period, but a drier period now to open November. And if we look at some of our long-range information, you'll see why that is. So starting with today, you see a couple of features. One, this guy up in the basically the northwest part of North America into Alaska. Two, you notice this thing near the eastern shores of Greenland. In between, you're getting this ridge to pop. So that's causing some funky things going on here. And as we press into the end of the week, you get this big storm like we talked about that's going to bring all that rain middle and end of the week. That's really going to throw a wrench into this pattern. And you notice as we head into the day 7 time frame by the end of the weekend, we now have ridging in Western North America and ridging in Greenland. What does that mean? Well, it means that there is an avenue here for some colder risk to come on down from Canada. And that's what I think is going to happen between about the turn of the month and the first week of November here. I think it's a pretty classic ridge west trough east type look. And by day 15, you notice two things. You notice there's still ridging in Greenland, but there's more troughing returning to Alaska. What does that mean? Well, it likely means we're going to see this continue to lean cooler in the northeast here to start November. And then we're likely going to see this warmer risk expand a little bit across the belt as we head into the middle of the month. Now, if you look at the 11 to 15 or the 16 to 30 day period, we do have it a little bit above normal in the east, cooler out west. That's after this cool shot. Now, as we get into November, we lean cooler in the northern tier, and that has to do with some of that blocking near Greenland. But again, it's going to be up and down. There's going to be periods of warm, periods of cool. We're going to see that period of cool to start the month. And you see here, we have our December, January, and February maps in the report now, so I encourage you to look at those. We are going to have a full winter PDF coming out for you on Wednesday. That'll be a 10-pager or so that'll have all the information you can ever want for winter. And we'll have a video on that. That'll be our long-range video on Friday. We're going to do a roundtable discussion, and we're going to talk about all that winter could offer. So all we got to get through here is this cooler risk that's developing here in the 8 to 15 day. Euro, GFS, and Canadian all showing it. Now, during this period, we are going to see some drier risk, depending on which model you look at. It really is. The usually wet Canadian leans dry. The European does have some rain in the southern belt. And then the GFS has more widespread precip. Not too sure this verifies. But again, some cooler and drier risk to the north, maybe a wetter period to the south and to the east. If you look at our 16 to 30 we issued on Friday, the idea of cooler risk finally making its way into the middle of the country was identified. But again, we have the wetter risk to the south and east, not south central. So we'll see how it plays out. But generally speaking, the coolest air is going to be found likely in the west here into the middle of the month as the rest of the belt tries to warm up. But again, plenty of wrenches can be thrown into this in November. November is one of the hardest months to forecast for with all the moving parts. So we're going to continue to watch this. And if you have questions, please let us know. We'll be back tomorrow with another video.